show. So before we get into the official show, I just want to give you a quick little preview about what's getting ready to happen. We're gonna be talking with Jaron Ikner. He is the film producer, and also he has dabbled in some music and some countless other things. He has produced one of his latest films, the Bond. So I want you guys to sit back and relax and come back to us after this short little countdown video to get you guys prepared for what's in store for you today. All right, we back. So I got my good friend Gerard with me. We got a chance to chat a little bit over the other side here. So you guys heard me kind of introduce him kind of casually a little bit and give you guys a quick little lowdown. But let's ask Gerard to kind of introduce himself. What's going on, Gerard?
I'm doing all right. Just kind of trying to live my best life.
Yeah, indeed. I mean, that's all we can do in chaos. Even in the midst of chaos, you can still find positivity. That's what I always say. So give us a little bit about your transformation story on where you started from and how you came to do what you're doing now.
Well, I originally started as a hip hop artist. I'm originally based out of Tucson, Arizona. I moved to Phoenix, Arizona back in 2011. Since then, I've kind of branched out into what I like to call a multimedia artist. So I actually operate in all forms of media. I do everything from journalistic writing, creative writing, podcasts, graphic design. Um, I went to film school, Scottsdale Film and Theater out here for 4 years and got my degree in screenwriting and film production. And all that kind of turned into the production of my first feature film, The Bond, which is currently just released on exclusively at thebondmovie.com. But I also put out a lot of music. So I have 5 studio albums that I put out over the course of my career. And yeah, I'm just a diverse guy. My whole thing is storytelling and finding unique and interesting ways to tell a story.
I like that. That is a long lost art that we all should appreciate. And from what it sounds like, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, it sounds like that everything you do kind of goes along that same pattern of storytelling. Am I correct?
Yeah, I mean, for me, it always goes back to the story. Even with every client that I work with, I always tell them that the best way to get to be successful is to tell your story because every person has a unique story to tell. A lot of artists or a lot of people in general will try to emulate what they see out there instead of telling what's within inside of them, and
Yeah.
as a result, they don't see the progress that they're hoping to see. And the amazing part about being a multimedia artist is that I'm allowed to switch lanes and kind of not be put into a box. So I might put out a movie one day and then drop an album the next, and then write a short story the next, or et cetera, and so forth. So it allows me to really diversify my output.
Yeah, I'm curious. Do you feel like that's going to be like the wave, like the for the future, or is that something that's now, or do you feel like maybe it's just a select few that has that kind of range to be able to tap in like that?
Um, I actually have a YouTube video about this that talks about um, what's the definition of a multimedia artist. And I think what a lot of people don't even realize is that they are probably already multimedia artists without knowing it. And like what a prime example I can give is like a photographer that takes photos, but then also does graphic design on the side and knows how to do all that, or knows how to post it on social media, et cetera, so forth. Like these are all different lanes. And as time goes on, and we have the the rise of things like TikTok and these micro social media sites, you're seeing a lot of creators becoming multimedia artists by default because they have to, because it's hard to get. Otherwise, you're paying, or you're trying to find someone to edit your videos or do this and that, and you're falling behind. So it's like by being a multimedia artist, you're staying ahead of the curve or being on the curve, just because you kind of have to.
Yeah, I can definitely see that. That totally makes a lot of sense. I definitely ponder that as to like how schools are going. Like most colleges and art schools are going to start like kind of teaching their lectures a little bit differently and and with the degree offerings as well. They may like evolve as well. So kind of back to you, and kind of staying along these lines, but um, where do you feel that the Bond movie, you know, how did that premeditate itself into life, and did that derive out of maybe something maybe done with music before, and it kind of came alive and made itself on screen?
Um, well, to be honest, the bond wasn't really supposed to happen in the sense that, so when I graduated from film school in December 2019, which was right before the pandemic hit, I was supposed to be working on a film, basically my thesis film called Magenta, which is a drama that I wrote. Um, and the school was supposed to help me back that by providing equipment and locations, et cetera, so forth. And so we had the pre-production for that film basically ready to go all the way up until, I don't know, I think it was March, when everything shut down, the school shut
Yeah.
down, et cetera, so forth. And so Magenta was put on ice, and I didn't have a lot of options at that point. And so I actually took all my stimulus checks that I got, and I used that to buy some camera equipment. And then during the summer, I actually just kind of practiced. I shot a couple short films that you could find on my page, and used those as practice. And then I kind of did an open call saying, "Hey, anybody interested in shooting some short films with me? Come on down." And one of those short films ended up being a short film version of the Bond, which is on my Google Drive right now, and probably won't ever see the light of day. But when we made that film, the whole team decided, hey, this is actually pretty good. You should maybe try to consider turning this into a full feature film. I was skeptical at first, but I cut a trailer for the film
Right.
and put it out online, and the response was massive. We put up a GoFundMe, and we were able to raise through the GoFundMe and the other channels around $12,000, which motivated me to actually shoot the film. The funny part about it was that at the time that we put the trailer out, we didn't have a script, so
Right.
I actually had to go. It took 10 days to write the script for the Bond, and we started shooting that October 2020. At that point,
That's highly impressive, man. And it's got a real good backstory to it, and just speaking of just like stories in itself, for those who haven't got a chance to saw it yet, and maybe kind of like newly introduced to it, maybe give us a little synopsis of what it's about.
sure. I mean, the movie was basically an exaggerated commentary on current events. Um, it focuses on two brothers who are estranged, and their mother is infected with the virus, and the movie is called the Aurora virus. And essentially, the mother is taken to a quarantine camp that is ran by a overseeing omnipresent corporation called Dynamation. And Dynamation essentially creates what is known as wellness cities, and these are cities that are virus free. So if
Mhm.
you're caught with a virus inside the city, you're kicked out into what is known as the dead zone, or put into a quarantine camp. And so the two estranged brothers uh, apparently come together to try to basically save their mom, but they also run into a rebel alliance group called Turn, who is trying to stop Dynamation from their oppression and all that. So it's an ensemble cast. The leads are Ash Bridges, Roy Phillips, Zion Monroe, Jasmine Delgado, and Joey Rodriguez. So I wouldn't actually give any one of them the top billing, because it's basically an ensemble cast. But it talks about these different stories and relationships with the backscape of the pandemic, basically set in the year 2025. So.
Oh, outstanding, outstanding. That sounds exciting. Just like hearing that rundown, I'm very curious, and it's got me excited and want to learn a lot more about more of your work. Speaking of your work, just going back to the music, what kind of vibe do we get, when we first, put on a Jaron Ikner, sound?
I like to consider my music introspective, a little bit emotional, I guess, emo rap if you want to call it that. But as I said earlier, I'm a storyteller, so I like to tell and talk about things that I've experienced in my life, and I really try to put that into my music. But I also I believe heavily in the idea that music is a form of manifestation, in the sense that, if you're over here saying out loud these choruses and these lyrics, you're basically screaming out to the universe that you want these things without realizing it. And so I try to make music with that in mind, because if I'm over here rapping these songs and performing these songs on stage and I'm speaking these things into the universe, I want to be able to speak positive things into the universe. So
Right.
I wouldn't necessarily say that my music's like all positive, but I always try to keep that in mind and try to project things that eventually come back to me tenfold, usually. So manifestation music is basically the term that I've come up with just right now in this conversation.
Well, that's it works, and I think we need more of that. And there's a lot of people that are just trying to manifest a lot of things, and they sometimes what really helps whenever you meditating, whenever you're just sitting back, and you really like you're trying to project some of your goals out to the universe. What really helps is music, and having some good manifestation music, as you coined it just now. I think that'll be real good to kind of help with people like trying to reach the different dimensions, and reach out into the heavens, and get some of these things brought down into existence. Um, so on that note, there's a lot of mainstream. Well, I wouldn't say a lot, but we starting to see a turn of a lot of mainstream artists now starting to like do what's considered positive or more fun, or more like more of that uh, less. I like to call it less junk food music. Do you feel like this kind of helps you? As on your music side, to tap into a fan base that may have not considered like checking out the type of music you put out.
Um, yes and no. I think one of the biggest misconceptions of being an artist is the fact that you kind of have to chase fans, and that you have to go get fans, and et cetera, so forth. And what I've learned over the years is that I'm a very true component of what is known as the 1,000 true fan theory. I'm not sure if you've ever heard of
Mhm.
this, but the short of it is that if you have 1,000 true fans that are willing to invest $100 into you a year, um, you'll be six figures. And
Right.
so I use that philosophy to fund my movie, The Bond. I know that I have maybe a couple thousand fans across the world that support me wholeheartedly, and just straight up asking them to push my music or fund the movie or do this and that is and really making them feel that they're a part of my growth and my progress, which goes to the
Right.
storytelling, that they're a part of my story, has been more important than me trying to figure out how to acquire new fans. Because what I've realized is that if you take care of the fans that you have and you really cultivate them, they'll bring new fans to you. They'll share your music, they'll share all that stuff. And so my mindset has really shifted, because I think previously I was thinking, oh, I have to go out there and be seen by the world, et cetera, so forth. But it's like, no, if you just focus on these people that already rock with you and get them to kind of like you activate them and make them go do stuff for you, then it works out for you way better.
And that's really, you know, a secret nugget that I'm glad that you dropped. And I love when people drop that nugget. And you know, because that nugget alone is worth $1 trillion. That's $1 trillion game right there. And you know, it's so invaluable. And I really do feel that, you know, if you got an authentic, you know, bunch that's following you, and it allows you to stay authentic to yourself, and you don't have to change. You know, you're right on point there. You know, you're right on target there. So you know, thank you so much for sharing that. You know,
Yeah, no problem.
yeah, you know, so you know, in terms of like, you like, far as like the people that, you know, kind of surround yourself with, you know, that you kind of cast into your films, like, you know, what are you kind of particularly looking for, you know, when you go out and you're looking for actors or actresses?
Well, one thing I've always told myself and others is that I will always cast a black lead in my film. That's because and this is always case by case, I believe, because I feel like if Disney came to me and offered me the next Spider-Man role or next Spider-Man movie, and they wanted Peter Parker to be in there, a white guy, then I guess Peter Parker's gonna be white. But when it comes to the stories that I write and the stories that I create,
Right.
my lead will always be a African American lead, and that's because I'm African American and I want my stories to resonate with people like me. So I always think about that when I write my scripts and when I do casting.
Mhm.
Um, I'm going to be casting someone that looks like me typically because the stories that I'm writing are from my perspective or from this viewpoint, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, yeah, that absolutely does. And yeah, I appreciate you for that. You know, one thing we can also appreciate, on your website, your official page. You know, there's you have you know, you very true to this story, like telling stories. And like you have something, you know, you know, a couple of pieces that's on the front page. Maybe tell us a little bit about those.
So I actually recently, as literally like 2 weeks ago, I dropped a surprise album. It's
Mhm.
called The Iridescent, and the reason why I dropped it is because I felt so. Basically, my film Magenta is what we're shooting right now. We had to put on
Okay.
a hiatus for a variety of reasons. One of the reasons is that Phoenix is hot as hell. It's 115 degrees outside, so we didn't want to be shooting out in that weather. So we shut down production for the rest of the summer. I got a little bit creatively stagnant, so I was like, I'm going to challenge myself so I recorded an entire album over the course of Father's Day / Juneteenth weekend,
Mhm.
and I decided to basically do one of my typical multimedia rollouts. And when I drop a project, it's usually not just the album; it's also a short film, a couple music videos, and a short story as well. What we're doing with this story and this album in particular is that anybody who excuse me downloads or subscribes to my YouTube channel or follows me on Spotify, we're actually buying a case of water and donating it to Soul Revival Inc., which is a nonprofit out here in Phoenix. They're doing a
Yeah.
water bottle drive, so every day around 6 o'clock, they're going downtown and passing out cases of water, ice packs, and stuff to those in the homeless. We have a massive homeless problem out here, so everybody who goes to the website and basically participates in this little multimedia experience that I have, they're inadvertently helping me out to help out the homeless out here. So
Wow, that's truly amazing, and truly remarkable. Um, yeah, and boy, you know, we definitely got to definitely push the page a little bit, you know, a little bit more. And we're gonna put that back up there, you know, here in the lower third here, you know, for those who are able to watch, and those who can't watch but are listening, you know. So GeronIkner.com is this website, and you'll be able to check that out, and be able to learn more about the nonprofit, Soul Revival Inc. as well, which is, he lists at the bottom. Um, so Gerard, you know, like with all that we have talked about here today, and you know, maybe we didn't get a chance to touch on anything. What would you like to kind of put out there, you know, out into the universe, and out to like some of my transformers that, like, you know, are kind of huddled around and like listening or watching.
um, don't be afraid to try. I think so. one of the things that people really know me for also is that I'm extremely active on social media, particularly Facebook, my personal Facebook page. I'm posting 20, 30 times a day on Facebook. And a lot of those posts are actually what I like to call stream of thought, consciousness type posts. But within these posts, I'm also giving out tips and kind of insight on how to approach the game, because a lot of people will contact me and say, well, how do I get in your position? And the thing about it is that I believe in learning out loud, and a lot of people, they are plagued by perfection. So the idea that, oh, I can't put out this product because it's not good enough, or it's not in the standard that it needs to be at compared to Drake or Kanye West or whoever, so I can't put it out, and they start getting insecure about their work. Me, on the other hand, if I can finish the product, I'm gonna put it out. Even if it's not perfect, even if you go watch The Bond, like, this is my first feature film. The sound's not fantastic. Some of the shots are a little bit off. Some of it's not end game, right? So, and I understand that, but by putting it out there, I'm only setting a standard for myself that I can only improve upon. And being an artist, I like to put myself out there in real time so people can see what I'm doing and seeing how I'm operating. But man, if Jaron can go out there and do that, then I can do that. And so I like to set these standards and kind of write these blueprints for artists to see and be like, man, this guy's over here doing all this stuff literally off of his passion and his desire to do it. And I want to do that. So, I'm really trying to set a standard and set like a blueprint for those who are trying to, be a little bit more free with their artistic expression.
I love it, and I definitely want to continue to trail you, and see what more you're working on. And you mentioned the movie Magenta. It's Magenta.
Correct. Yeah.
Yeah, Magenta, that you're working on right now. Currently, looking forward to that. And how would that be made available? Would that be go directly to your YouTube channel, or would that be distributed?
Currently, so the Bond right now is available at thebondmovie.com exclusively, and we're currently waiting for the Amazon and Tubi links to drop any day now. It will be available on there. Magenta, if things go smooth, will be done by the end of the year, and will probably be released next year, next summer, probably at this rate. And those would probably be available through the same means, probably exclusive website first, and then making it available on the streaming channels.
Excellent. All right, so give us one more time, like how we can get in touch with you, or any other plugs you want to put in there, and we definitely like to definitely follow up with you.
Sure. The best way to get in touch with me is probably Facebook. I'm on there all the time. If you look for Jaron Ikner on Facebook, you'll find my account on there. But if you're just curious about who I am and what I do, you can go to JaronIkner.com. You'll find not all my work, but most of my work on there, my short films, a lot of my recent releases. I haven't updated the site that much recently because I've been focused on the iridescent, but I have links to all my appropriate social media channels on there, and as well as my email on there. So if you guys want to reach out to and ask me any questions, or just sort of talk about collaborations and so forth, feel free. I also run a company called Starstruck Multimedia LLC. We do artist development and creative branding for corporations and clients. So if you guys need some artistic development in your career, or just need some insight on how to tell the best story that you can, reach out to us, and we can see what we can do for you.
Excellent. And you answered the question that I almost let's flip my head, and that's like, do you do collaborations? Thank you for answering that. So, without me getting it out my mouth. This has been an amazing conversation, Gerard, and we really appreciate you. Feel free to stop by. If you're doing anything else in the future, and those who are watching or listening, make sure you do support Gerard and all that he's doing, and check out the Bond movie. And as well as many other projects, his music as well is available. The website is in the link in the episode description, in link format for you, so you can share that with someone someone you don't know, as that does help also to further the message that you have heard here today, and give this a replay back too. You might have missed something. So until next time, don't forget to like, subscribe, and comment, and tell a friend. Many blessings, peace, and lots of love. I'm Marcus, along here with Gerard. Until next time.